is this, the fourth one or the fifth one or something? Still just practicing. Had a kind of a difficult start to the day, very slow start. My mornings are always the same, my days are always the same, pretty much what happens when you have to work to live, but my morning started off slow. At least I wasn't as noticeably shaky today, so that was good. I just felt like I was moving in slow motion. I still kind of feel like that. Didn't finish my food that I needed to eat for what I'm doing. Didn't finish all of it, so I had some of that this morning. I'm supposed to finish all of it every day, but I fell asleep really early, so it's not like I intentionally did it or I was too full or anything. That never happens. It's just with the insomnia, sometimes I just crash out or I can't sleep. Depends on the day. But yeah, for some reason, I think I am still a little bit shaky, but it's not as crazy as yesterday. Really just slow with getting everything together today. But I didn't end up working out. And then driving again, obviously. Didn't really get much done yesterday or last night. I'll be adding more to my daily lists again really soon, so that I always have something that I need to get done. I always get something done regardless, and there's always something on the list, but I'm so far along in the list that a couple of the days don't have anything, so I just need to put stuff on there when I have extra time. So like it's not going to be things that I do regularly. Like I'm not going to put clean the house or cut my nails or anything like that on there. It'll be things that just aren't done yet. Like I have a list of shows and stuff that I've watched, and I want to organize it. And I know that's going to take a super long time, and I started it a while ago, but it is extremely tedious and time consuming, and it's going to take like an entire month, like a little bit each day. So maybe that's where I'll just start doing a little bit of each day instead of like some of these other tasks. We'll see. Chat with one of my buddies last night, but I was so exhausted. Don't really know what. I think I was just emotionally drained from some stuff that's going on at home. Really got to get that all situated. Cats slept with me like always, so that was super nice, because they were just always laying with me, spending time with me. So even if I'm about to crash out or if I stay up super late, they're always pretty much always there. So it's like it's like a nice feeling then the question is, do I want to spend a large amount of time doing the tubs one of these weekday nights, or should I just spend part of, an hour or two on a weekend doing it? It's just how much I want to offset starting back up with the exercising. And I think when I start, I'm just going to straight up start from zero and do like zero weight, do calisthenic stuff, and obviously I'll do weight training like always, but it's going to be from like 5 pounds. So even though that sounds silly, I need to get my body into the groove because my energy is so bad. I don't want to just give up. So I think just doing that at like a significantly less amount of reps and extremely high reps in reserve and stuff at first, get just warmed up for like a week or so, then just like get used to doing all the movements properly again, my body moving, stretching, and I can do like, for example, a curl, and I'll just do it with like 5 pounds, and then I could do really high reps if I can keep going, and then I can catch all the way up. So what I mean by that is, like, let's say for a week or so I do super low weight and super low reps, high reps in reserve, all this stuff, so that I am pretty much doing nothing but just getting used to the movements. Then eventually I can ramp it up. Instead of ramping it up with weight at first, I can just ramp it up with reps. So obviously most people that are in decent shape can do like a lot of reps if you're only doing 5 pounds. So I could just straight up do as many as I could possibly do at a certain point after I'm used to doing them for a few days. And then slowly it'll taper off. So like, let's say I'm doing 5 pounds and I can do, just for example, let's say I do 30 reps. I'm sure it'll be way more than that. If I ever get fatigued, like at the certain point that I get fatigued, 30, 50 reps or whatever, then I can do another set, the same thing. And as long as I can do that, 2 or 3 times, then the next day or the next few days later when I do that exercise again, I'll increase it by 2.5 or another 5 pounds or whatever it is that I decide. And I'll shoot for really high reps again, and I'll just keep slowly doing that, where I just do high reps at first to get into it, and then eventually it'll catch up to, the weight will go up a little bit more, and that means the reps will go down, and I'll most likely be in the normal rep range for isolation of like 8 to 16 or whatever, depending on what you feel like doing. You could probably do even more than that for isolation, but like it'll slowly taper down the reps, and the weights will kind of like come to the middle. So I think that's what I'm gonna do, and that'll go for everything. Like, I'll probably just do pull-ups for a long time with no weight. I was doing it with like high weight around my waist before, so I know I can get back to it, but I should probably just get up to at least like 10 pull-ups without adding any weight for a while. I think 10 is probably good. Get used to bar hanging again, get used to pretty much everything. I'm not going to be able to do really high weight squats or anything like that because I'm going to be at home. So I'm probably just going to do goblet squats Or maybe I'll combine. I'm starting to overthink it, like in my own head as I'm talking. It's not going to be super easy to get like leg work done at home without like heavy weight, because with a bench I can do pretty high weight because the surface area will be covered with the floor by the bench, and I'll have like dumbbells in each hand. I'm going to be mainly doing dumbbell stuff since I don't have a barbell. I have an attachment for my dumbbells to make it into a barbell, but I don't really trust it when it gets high enough weight. And I was mainly doing barbell work before, like a long time ago, so I kind of want to do dumbbell to make everything really even, especially with my arm. My left arm is like pretty messed up. It's healed as much as I think it can be by now, because I took way significant amount of time off, but it still feels weird every now and then and not right. So doing dumbbell work, I'll be able to do high amount of weight eventually, but I'm not going to be doing significantly high weight for legs. So I think I'm going to focus a lot on calves, and as long as they're healing, I might just do it every single day. And then for thighs and quad, like just glutes and stuff. Well, glutes and like posterior chain, I'll probably be doing. I'm going to be doing hyperextensions, but I have to build this little thing out of PVC pipe and cement. I'm going to like make an attachment for my bench so that I don't have to buy like a hyperextension bench, because I don't have the money for that. But I can just make one out from like $10 with the piping and go from there. I like doing hyperextensions. You can add weight to it, and then that way I don't have to do like deadlifts. I could do Romanian ones if I wanted to at kind of lower weight. I do not like deadlifts. I'm very much of the opinion that you should do things that you like to do when you're exercising, so that you stick to it. Yes, the deadlift's going to work your entire body, but you can also do a lot of things for your entire body. There's many different ways to exercise. That's why there's so much clashing information out there. There's not one way to do it. There's many, many different ways to do it. If you don't like something, or you're worried that you're going to get hurt, then just don't do it. Pretty much that's about it. I don't like the deadlift, so I don't want to do it. Plus, I'm in my house. I'm not able to do it anymore really anyway, unless it's Romanian. So, same thing with squat. I don't have a way to load it up on my back anymore since I'm not at the gym. So I'll probably use dumbbells, just high weight. If I can, hold it in between my two hands in front of my chest, do like a goblet one, low all the way to the ground, keeping everything straight to keep it safe and whatever. And that'll still get me going. I don't really care about having like extremely large legs. I think legs are very important to exercise because they're huge muscles in your body, and like from my experience, muscles try to keep up with other muscles in a way. I know that sounds kind of silly, but when you have these huge muscles like on your thighs, for example, and they're being significantly pushed, your body has to take all of that force and all of your what is the word? Like workout capacity is higher with that because those muscles are big. And so it kind of gets your body used to doing bigger amounts of workloads So it's important for that reason. Even if you want to look like, what's that guy, Metro Man in Megamind? The original Megamind that's really good. Not the new shit that's terrible. I think his name was Metro Man, the one that's like a Superman type guy. His legs are tiny, and the rest of everything else is huge, all the way up to his neck. Even if you just wanted to look like that, it's still important to do legs to some extent, because I'm of the opinion that it influences the rest of your body. So I don't care about having huge legs. I wear jeans pretty much every day, unless I go swimming or something. And as long as my legs are still aesthetic and I can still run and function and swim and jump, and my legs are just still strong, they don't need to be tree trunks. Like, you know, they can be a big root from a tree or something, but it doesn't need to be, it doesn't need to be fucking massive. Plus, I'm not like a super giant guy anyway. My legs got really big the last time I was doing this, but most of that was from my genetics, because the fat that I was gaining was mainly going to my stomach and my thighs. Like, I would go to my face, I would go to my my chest, it would go, everywhere. But a big portion of where it was going was my stomach and thighs, and that makes sense based on my parents. It kind of stinks a little bit, because it means like I really have to pay attention to that. I got to do a lot more like ab stuff to make it pop out, because without it, just cutting down, I've cut way down before, and you still don't really see it. And that could just be lack of muscle development. In the abdominals, it could be I didn't cut down as far as I thought. It's probably a combination of both. But I do think it's important to pay attention to where you put on fat, if you're trying to look a certain way or feel a certain way or get stronger in certain areas, so then you know what to expect as you're gaining weight. Otherwise, you might be upset as you're gaining weight, like, oh, my weight training or my cardio isn't doing what I want it to do. It might still be doing that if you're paying attention to your weight limit every week with your scale or whatever, once a week or every 2 weeks or whatever you do. You'll see that you're gaining weight, or you'll see that you're losing weight. But you should also be looking in the mirror at your body every now and then, because you're not going to notice it every single day. But as you're gaining like maybe 5 to 10 pounds or so, you'll be able to see those differences if you're paying attention. And you'll know, okay, I gain it in my neck, or I gain it in my, my armpit area or something. Yeah, for me it's stomach, most likely, because I have stomach issues. I'm guessing I put a lot of visceral fat in that area. Maybe I store it better there or something. And then in my thighs, like, I had jeans that I had to buy new jeans because they just didn't fit, like, on my thighs a while back. Now they're, baggy-ish because I lost a bunch of that, but soon they're going to be fitting properly again because I'm going to be gaining weight. But yeah, it's just something to pay attention to. Been rambling about random exercise stuff, but whatever. The point is just to get used to talking and saying what's going on. What else is going on? I don't know. Yeah, that's about it for now. Time to record again. It's an interesting sight into my, it's just going to be more and more into my everyday life. Not every place that I go or every experience that I have, but hopefully an insight into my mind and the repetitiveness of every day, which is terrible. Like I've said previously, still have not written down the ideas. That's why I'm just going to be rambling again today. There's always going to be an element of ramble, but should be more focused at some point. It's partially because I forget, because I genuinely do. But it's also the energy thing. I mean to put things down on my list of things to do. Like if the thing that I need to do that day is make sure I start writing ideas down each night, then that should be something that I add. Same thing. Maybe this is relatable for people, but haven't done those tubs I've been talking about. Haven't done the exercise equipment yet. I'm gonna be doing that. Have been eating more, the amount that I want to, so that's good. I just have to add one thing tonight, and then I'll be caught up with everything that I'm gonna be regularly eating, and that's just some cereal at the end of, right after a workout, and a protein drink to get those sugars and protein in there for the glucose and the protein synthesis stuff. The only thing I haven't been eating is the cereal, which shouldn't be a big deal. It's really just about time, just because every day is the same, and I gotta get it try to get a certain amount of sleep with the insomnia, try to relax the best that I can. I just end up forgetting to eat. I just never get hungry. It's just rare that I get hungry. I gotta be super bored or have not eaten in a long time. I can go a significant amount of times where I don't need to eat and survive off water. Kind of stinks sometimes that we don't have photosynthesis or some sort of way to energize your cells without eating, because I like pretty much all food aside from a few fruits, but the issue is just that my stomach pretty much always hurts and I'm pretty much never hungry. But I can eat. I can just keep eating and keep up with heavy people. So it's not a big deal. I just have to remember to do it, and it costs more money to buy more food. But I do it in an extremely cost-efficient way, as much as I can, to get the amount of protein that I need. Carbs, fats, fiber, salt that I need. Maybe it's not as efficient just because I do a little bit more vitamins than I probably need. Just because of some health conditions that I've had, I feel more comfortable when I take some extra vitamins, as long as they don't clash with each other. But I don't remember what the point of what I was saying was. point was that I can eat a lot, it's just about remembering to do it. So I gotta set it up where it's like timed out. That's what I was doing before, where I would have something to eat before I leave, which is what I'm doing now. Have something again, like right when I wake up, which is what I'm not doing that right now because I feel better if I don't want to eat in the morning, but I have to just based on how my day is. I'd rather not eat at work. So technically I don't have to in the morning. I could eat at work, but I don't. I'd rather not. So I just drink a ton of water and some protein drink while I'm at work. But yeah, I timed it out really well in the past and I ended up gaining a lot of weight the way that I wanted to. I think I said yes the last video that it goes to my stomach and my thighs a lot, but in general it builds a lot of muscle. So once I get that under control, it'll be good. But so tonight I'll be doing that, making sure it's going to be uncomfortable a little bit, just because aside from the timing, it's just like I don't want to eat, mainly because I'm not hungry, but also because it hurts my stomach a lot of times too. But I just ignore it and move on and distract myself, or either I lay down and that helps, or I walk around and that helps, or I go to sleep, or I distract myself with something else that's going on, like a game or a book or a movie or something. So it's not a big deal. You have to have control over your body. If you're trying to lose weight, you got to control your hunger. If you're trying to gain weight, you got to push it to the limit if you can. If you aren't hungry. I never had an issue with that type of stuff, so it's not a big deal. Just about remembering and using that time. The timing thing is a big deal. That goes for anything. That's why I'm trying to do the recordings, at least the practice ones. I don't know if these are ever going to go anywhere, but practicing talking to myself and talk just fine to other people. I don't know if I want to start calling people in the morning and doing it that way and be on a call and record like a conversation. It's a little bit early, so I don't really know who I'd be able to conversate with. But once I get the hang of it and it's not as like weird to just talk to my phone, I think it'll be fine. Recording the ideas and recording the ideas from the previous night and some ideas I need to write down. That's something else that I have to do, is take the facets of my life that, like in the video forms or of my life, where like the media that I consume, and make some of it into my own, where your environment shapes like a huge part of who you are, and so of course like the media is part of that. And so I think that I watch a decent amount of stuff, not like a crazy amount. In the past I did, just don't have as much time now. But yeah, taking ideas, driving them from somewhere else, writing down the ideas, putting them in my own way, kind of like what we did like way back in school, where you take like a concept and make it your own and do your own research and do your own spin or your opinion on it, or how you write. I think that'll be important for these types of videos, using that type of skill. And we'll see. I don't think that I'm gonna, I do not plan on writing a script. I like to always be off the cuff. It doesn't matter if I'm talking to someone, it doesn't matter if I'm doing an interview, it doesn't matter if even when I'm writing writing a story or something like that in the past, I would just write down what's in my mind rather than over analyzing everything. Like, you can analyze it later, but just writing it down initially. And that's kind of how I want to do this too. I've been over analyzing it for like 15 years. I should have been doing this before I was an adult. I should have been recording these videos such a long time ago. Part of my list, it might have been the first thing on my list, I don't know, but a huge thing that I've always wanted to do is the YouTube stuff. And I've known that I can do a lot of different things with it. I've kept on changing my mind. I've kept on planning and plotting and twisting things around, and then overthinking it, and scrapping it, and then moving on. And things happen in your life, you move on from that, then you forget, then you come back to it and you're like, oh yeah, I wanted to do this, but you gotta work, you gotta go to school, you want to do it on the weekend, but you want to spend time with a friend, or you can do it early in the morning, but you want to exercise, you want to do it late at night, but you want to play games or something like that, or you want to have a hobby, you want to read or watch movies or something. It's like, how do you do all those things and this at the same time, and have a relationship, friendships, see immediate family and things like that? It's extremely difficult to do everything in your day. And that's something that I have to just convince myself of, is that it's okay to not do everything in one day. I would love to be able to fuck working, but I have to. I would love to be able to exercise, read, make video stuff and ideas, and think and talk and write for the videos, all that type of stuff. So all that's an amalgamation of videos. Then, what did I say? Read, exercise, eat what I have to eat, spend time with the cats, spend time with people, work on little projects that I want to do, get things done. But man, when you try to sleep 8 hours, when you try to work 8 hours, then you got to drive, however far you got to drive, which ends up probably being an hour or more. You got to clean things for an hour, you got to take a shower, you got to brush your teeth, all these different things add up, and you end up not having enough time to do everything. Something goes on the back burner so that you can relax. So you can either relax or get other things done. It's just crazy, man. If we didn't have to work, you could pretty much just live a life that you enjoy. But it doesn't really matter. I'll talk about that more another time when I'm more focused on it. I'm just going all over the place, different tangents and things. I don't even remember where I was at before that. Let me think. I don't remember. Getting used to talking, big priority right now. Getting used to eating a lot for forever, because I'm just probably just gonna bulk for like an extreme amount of time. Maybe I'll do like mini cuts here and there, but nothing significant. Just mainly gonna be doing that. Then moving on to eating, exercising, trying to make the videos. I've been trying to do more reading. It's not even about trying, it's just do the thing. Do it. Instead of sitting there. Instead of watching a video, make one. Instead of, watch a movie on the weekend instead, or play a game during these set hours instead of every night. Like, there's a way to do things that can further your life, your goals, I guess. And that's pretty much what this is. This is about like capturing how hopefully relatable it is with people with like depression or other extreme mental illness things going on, that you can still do stuff. It does have a lot of setbacks all the time, but it's still possible, and I'm going to show that on here. I'm going to, I keep saying that. But I'm talking as though like I'm talking to the future, kind of, because I'm just going to be learning from each of these videos. Instead of overanalyzing, like what I was saying before, like when you overthink something, just gonna do the videos. It'll be practice. Then I can, when I upload them, if I do, I can analyze it then and be like, okay, do I want to do this differently? Do I want to add this? Put something at the beginning or the end, or do more of this type of inflection, or just. I'm always going to be myself. I'm never going to fake anything. That's just who I am. But things can always be better. So if I'm like rambling isn't working, then I could be a little bit more focused. And yeah, I end up repeating constantly what I'm saying. But that's just showing that I'm going through the process. That's showing that this is how people are. Not everybody is going to be exact with what they're doing. There's a ton of setbacks. There's a ton of break points. And nothing goes as planned. And being like okay with things being uncomfortable and uncertain is what needs to happen in order to become a better person. I think that I've always been becoming a better person. It reminds me of Master of Disguise, where he's like become another person. Then he starts serenading the snake with what was he playing, a recorder or something like that. Yeah, shouldn't be stagnant. Nobody should be stagnant. Everybody should constantly be progressing. Just because you're aging doesn't mean that you're becoming wiser or more interesting or better at anything. You have to practice these things. You have to use your skills. You could just always be socially inept and you could be 80 years old because you just never did it. Nobody ever pushed you. You never pushed yourself. You never went outside of your limits. And then you just suck in one way or another when you're an old person. And it's just like, I just don't have any sympathy for that type of stupid shit. People not being open to new ideas or getting offended by different types of ideas or things like that. Not willing to change or add on to who they are. Like they think they're just good enough how they are is just sad. That's not going to be me. I'll do another one of these tomorrow. Is it starting? does it say, what the heck? On the video recording it says the time out of 40 minutes. I wonder why it says that. I wonder if that's the only amount of video storage I have left or something on my phone. I have no idea. Let's see. Really did not achieve anything of value last night after work. Kind of just tried my best to relax, and I got a couple things ready for the next day, but really I just relaxed, chatted with a buddy at one point for a little while, hung out with the cats. It's so difficult to get even the smallest things done during the week when you just don't have any amount of time on your hands. I don't know why I'm saying on my hands. I don't know why. It's just so difficult. It's never an excuse to not do the things that you need to do. I'm just so very aware of it, of the fact that there's things that I want to do, but I don't end up doing it because I'm so tired, or I forget because it's really not about forgetting most of the time. One point or another I'll remember. Typically it's just like the exhaustion from having to work, the exhaustion from having to sleep at a specific time and run my life like just in a box with a bunch of restraints. Where I just have these parameters that I can exist within. No matter what, though, things need to be done because the days go by so fast, and they go by faster and faster as you get older, usually. I assume because you're experiencing the same things over and over as you get older. When you're younger, you see everything as new all the time. Like, you're experiencing new things, you're going to new places. That's why summer times when you're out of school felt like they lasted a good amount of time when you're really little. And then as you get older, they seem to dwindle down and shrink because you've been experiencing those summers. And if you're not doing new things all the time, if your eyes aren't seeing new things, new places, then it becomes routine or just normal, and your sense of time just doesn't function the same way. I genuinely feel like time feels as though it's expanded when you're in a new environment, a new place, something that you haven't experienced or something like that. Your brain's happy from experiencing something new. And it's good to have routine. Certain things to become better at a skill or discipline in your life or whatever it is. But man, you absolutely need variety to feel young, happy, and like the days just aren't going by so fast. Like, I'm at the point where I'm just, the weeks just go by like a day. And that's exactly another reason why. It's not a reason to not do anything, because I could see an argument of like, okay, that's exactly why I shouldn't do this or that I want to do, or better myself in this way or that way. It's not a reason for that. It is a reason to do these things, because the day's just going to go by fast anyway. Once you get the things done that you want to get done with, and then you're caught up with it, or you put something else in your routine, like exercising or eating a certain way, that will become the normal, and it will go by quickly, just like everything else. If you're like dreading exercising or dreading schoolwork or something like that, once you're constantly doing it, it's just gonna fly by just like each other day, if you're in a similar circumstance to me. So that for me, it's a huge reason to get everything going. Because if I feel like, oh, my week is going by like a day, then really I'm getting a significant amount of whatever it is out of that week in that day feeling. And it's like, yeah, I could just sit there like I've been doing, sit there, think or not think, rest or watch something or whatever it is that people do. It depends on how I'm feeling. And I was a lot more productive before, and I still am, but during the week, that's where my difficulty comes in now, with when I have the amount of time that I'm forced to work. My train of thought in these videos. That's why it's like important to practice it. I can't remember, but yeah, as you make things into a routine, it's just gonna go by really fast, just like anything else. Let's say you just only have a couple of hours or maybe less getting home from work. You could relax. Yeah, that's what you're going to want to do. Or you could do a thing and then while you're sleeping, you're relaxing. That's how I'm thinking about it at this point. So utilizing the time as much as you possibly can. And it doesn't mean that, like, let's say you're trying to use it to better your life or better yourself in some sort of way. It doesn't mean that your life is going to get better, for sure. You can't just, there's so many people that try to convince other people that this is going to make specifically your life better. No, not necessarily. But it will make you better, because you're the one that becomes disciplined, and that will be translated into other parts of your life. You're the one that's going to become better at getting things done, that will translate into other things. You're the one that is getting healthier if you're exercising or eating better, or you're getting smarter if you're doing schoolwork or reading or something like that. So it's not going to for sure make your life better if you're like trying to practice your social skills, or trying to figure out how you want to use the tiny bit of money that you have to do business, or get a degree that you want to get. It's not going to make your life better, for sure. It might not work out that way at all, but the thing that it's going to do is it's going to make you better. I'm just repeating myself, but I guess I'm just trying to reiterate to show how important it is. You'll be more prepared for these things. So if you do get a degree, for example, and you're not getting the career that you want, you'll have more perseverance to keep trying. You will be a lot more calm about what's going on, hopefully. You'll be prepared to try different things, even doing other things. You'll just become, instead of just doing the same thing all the time. Yeah, we have to. A lot of people have to. I have to, with work and stupid stuff like that. But if you're trying to improve yourself in other ways, it just unlocks doors in the future. It's like invisible doors that are all around you. And as you're walking through life, you're not necessarily choosing to open the doors, you're just walking through them or not. If they're unlocked, you walk through them. If they're not, you walk around them or whatever. And making yourself better instead of just staying the same all the time is just going to be what gives you more opportunities for the future. It doesn't mean that they're going to be great opportunities. It just means that there's more options of what can happen with greater potential for good to happen. And when you don't do anything, you're just limited to your slight few doors. If you don't work on your social things going on, you want to have a family, it's probably not going to happen. Or it does happen, but then you're extremely unhappy because you don't know how to function in a family or a relationship or whatever it is. That's just an example, obviously. I'm using examples all the time, but where's this person going so slow? You're always going to be yourself. But you can always become a better version of yourself, no matter what. Let's say you have a ton of setbacks, you get sick or something like that, or financially burdened. Now that's your normal. And can you become better than that? Yes. So if you're financially burdened, are you just stuck like that forever? No. It could become worse. It could become better. It depends on what you're going to do. And even if you try, it doesn't mean it's going to work, but you're going to be becoming a better person in the process and more able to handle things that come about to hopefully get yourself into a better position. But if you don't do anything, then you might not be able to get yourself into a better position. And if you're sick, let's say, you can't get better. Let's say it's something terrible. Well, there's still a decent amount of things that that's up to your discretion at that point, what you want to do. But you should be thinking about it, or at least I would be thinking about it like the same way as being without illness, because without illness you never know what's going to happen. You might just die, and then with it you might just know that you have less amount of time. So one's just a slightly more information, and it sounds like, oh, I just don't understand anything going on, but I think that when people are pushed and forced to do something, like in a good way, not someone forcing you or something like that, but I mean like when your environment or your life, when your life forces things upon you, that shows a good portion of what you can do, what you can accomplish. Maybe you don't have work, not able to pay for things, and at a certain point, like, you have to figure it out, or you're in a situation where you lose all your stuff, and we'll see. Which one are you gonna do? Are you gonna figure something out or not? And let's say you do, okay. That's awesome, and that shows that you were able to be resilient and figure out the situation that you're in. And so you're gonna be even more prepared for the next time that something arises. If you don't, and now let's say you're on the street or really close to it or something like that, now you're even in a worse position. You didn't think that there could be a worse position, but there is, and there always can be worse and worse and worse. But let's say you are pushed to the street, well then there's options to figure out how to get through there too. It's not easy. Like, literally nothing is easy. You can think of it as, okay, people have advantages and disadvantages. Everybody does. People with money have significant more advantages. It's just about, like, are you using those advantages? It's like, you think about things as though you're in a video game, or like, let's say Dark Souls or something. Yeah, if I mod in a really good weapon, then technically it makes the game easier. But if you are experienced with the world, you don't really need, like, necessarily the best weapon. You can still get through it. Maybe you won't be getting through it as fast, as efficiently, or as easily, but you'll be able to. Just because you don't have everything going on, like, perfectly doesn't mean that you shouldn't try. And I don't think that people are, like, necessarily not trying to put themselves into a better position all the time. I just think that weeks and months and years go by so fast because life is the same so much when you become an adult in like how the country is, where you have to work to survive, that, like, you just don't even realize that you're staying the same. Like, maybe you'll have the mindset of you want to become better, you want to get into a better position, but it just never happens because, like, it's so incredibly difficult. And, like, instead it's easy to lay down or watch something else, do something else. And that's, like, nothing against any people, it's just the reality is, like, just being aware that whether you are doing something about your situation or not. I don't even know where I was going with that, but I feel like I kind of talked about that yesterday a little bit. So I don't really know if I even talked about anything different at all this time. But whatever. I'll do another one tomorrow.